So good evening, everyone. So I guess the screen is visible. Okay, so welcome to Web Trainings. So today we'll be just checking out a demo session. So I'll be taking just a small demo session on what is this web designing course and what are we going to learn through this course. Okay, first of all, introducing myself. My name is Mohammad Arif. So I'm working as a web designing trainer as well as senior web designer for Web Trainings Academy. Okay, so I'll be about dealing classroom and online trainings. At the same time, even I'll be dealing with the designing of websites for our clients. So first of all, starting with, so as of today in the demo session, so I'll just like to go with a basic thing, like what is this, first of all, what is this web designing? And in our curriculum, so what are we going to learn through this course? So in general, what we do is we say web designing in the sense simple and best option. Most of them say that this is nothing but designing the websites. But in general, what exactly the purpose of designing the website is? We want to mainly put the content or information. Suppose as a owner, if I am starting up some company, so if I want to put my information, like if I want to say like I have so and so company, so this company I'm just providing so and so services. So if you require any service, then you can directly contact me. So all these details I want to put it online. The simple way of putting it online would be creating a website that is nothing but on the internet. Okay, so the first option for web designing will be to create a website, but for mainly for what purpose? In the sense nothing but presenting the content, or we want to display some content or information about that particular organization or whatever the business it may be on the internet. Then the first best form is nothing but designing a website. And in the same way, so even this will be helpful for providing the services, like doing the businesses around the world, because simple option internet is nothing but that will be globally. So if I want to display something, because by marketing by papers, that is nothing but like brochures, pamphlets and all those options, so generally that would be specified to a specific region. So it's not confined to, like, I can't distribute my pamphlets or brochures around the world. The best means, like if I want to provide some service around the world, then the best means of getting the marketing done is nothing but creating a website. So your web designing is a whole process of presenting or designing the content or information of a particular organization on the internet in the form of a website. So as a web designer, our main option will be creating the websites, and creating the website is nothing but creating the web pages, because a website is nothing but a group of different pages interlinked, like on the menu we'll be having. So when the user will click on a particular menu item, then some page should open. So that would be something like creating the web pages. We'll be creating some different pages and then link up, and that complete wholly is nothing but a website. Now while creating the website, the main technologies that we'll be using will be HTML, CSS and JavaScript. HTML in simple terms, if I want to display some content on the browser, so like whatever the page we will be able to see is nothing but the HTML. So we want to display some content in various forms, like I may want to display some text, again text in different forms, something like heading or something like a text, or I want to display some image, or I want to display some fields. So whatever we want to display on the page, so directly it's not that we can display, but we want to display that content in a specific form by using the tags. So this HTML is nothing but all about tags, defining the tag with which, according to the tag used, the content will be displayed in the browser. And once some content is displayed, then to that content, if we want to apply some styles, effects, then we go with the CSS properties. And if we want to have some functionality, like if the user will click on so and so option, then some action should be performed. Then that would be completely the functionality part, nothing but the JavaScript. Okay, so this will be like here we are completely dealing with the web designing, which is a complete front-end process. Okay, front-end designing, and the main technologies that we'll be using, the main concepts that we'll be using to design the front-end page will be HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Then, so when we are speaking of websites, so generally we'll be categorizing them into three types. So that is the static websites, dynamic websites, Sometimes we will be having a static website with one or two dynamic pages. All the pages will be static except one or two pages may be dynamic. So first of all, what is a static website? In the sense, nothing but just a simple website which only displays the information, easy to develop and easy to host. That is nothing but just we will be having some specific pages. So simply what it is, we select all and upload it on the server, and it will be easily done because we'll be having the specific number of pages. And even if some changes are to be made, so that would be made 3 months or for 6 months or maybe for a year. So not frequent modifications, but based on some time interval, some gaps will be giving, and then we'll be maintaining. Okay, updates and everything should be manually done. Then that would be something like a static website. Okay, the main option, like as soon as you see a website, so to say whether it is a static or dynamic, simple option will be if you're able to find the whole thing only with the content, but there is nothing like login, sign in or sign up, register, or something like comments, because once you comment option is there once you type, and when you click enter, so that will be directly updated in the website. So that is a dynamic part. Okay, only displaying the information, except the information there is nothing else displayed, then that would be a static website. Suppose for an example, now if just this is a one site, so just observing all these options like home, so related to that company some information, domestic, commercial, so everywhere you can just find some information, but there is nothing like a form or something like the employees or the user should log in to view something. And even you can see the contact, they have just given the phone number and the email. So if you want to contact them, so either you have to call them or you have to just put an email to them, but there is nothing like an inquiry form or registration form or something. So this is a complete static website. Minimum less number of pages, only the design part is there. That is nothing but just the information we have displayed, like what is this and what are the their main services, only the information. In case if we find something like a logical option or the databases, so general option database will be created. So how we can say like which site where the database can be created, in the sense simple option, if there is an option of register or sign up in the sense when you put out your information, so that information should be stored somewhere, so that the next time you sign in, you'll be typing up the username and password. So it will be checking out in the database whether you are a already registered user or not. If that username and password what you have typed is already stored, it will check out within the database. If it is already stored and if it is exactly matching, only then it will log. Else it will display the option like invalid username or password. So that is complete logical. It will check the conditions. It will connect to the database, whether in the database it is there or not. So it's completely dealing with the database and the logical options will be a dynamic website. It's a time consuming because generally there will be more number of pages, and completely that will be a script oriented, because a database, creating the database would be with MySQL, some live server should be there, then they'll be creating some database, and then to connect the HTML part with the database, so generally there will be some PHP script. So we need to have a complete knowledge of scripting and everything, only then we can be able to build the dynamic website. So generally this will be the work of web developers, wherein they'll be working with PHP, ASP, databases, MySQL, all those options. And generally here the multiple number of pages can be created. Generally not, it's not the designing part. So generally they will be having some theme. So based on the theme, what they do is that they'll be just inserting some products within the database. So according to that, automatically the pages will be created. And even the automatic updates, like from so and so date something should be displayed, then after that date something else should be displayed, or comments, posts, as soon as you type and you click enter, so that will be directly updated within the browser. So yes, completely like automatic updates, many number of pages, and the simple option will be if you find something like login or sign in, that means it's a dynamic website. Okay, in this technologies, PHP, MySQL, ASP, etc. And this will be mainly useful for e-commerce websites, news websites, job portals, etc. Okay, like any shopping website you take. So we can't say exactly like how many number of pages would be there, because within that there may be some hundreds of pages, but it's not that designing of the pages. It's just a one basic theme. They'll be just entering the products according that automatically the pages will be updated. Okay, that is completely dynamic oriented. That is nothing but depending designed by the developers. Web developers will be working on that. Then just one more option, that is nothing but a static website with a dynamic page. Like the site will be completely static, only providing the information. Just there will be a basic inquiry form or a contact form. Like you need to send your name, phone number, and email so that we can get back to you. And even that option will be like it's not storing something in the database. Okay, there will be a basic PHP script. By using that script or applying that script, simply what we do is when the user will type the data and when he clicks on submit, that will be sent to the owner's email ID. Okay, that will be sent to the official email ID so that the owners can check, and if they want to reply they can just reply. Okay, it's a complete all the pages will be static, but except one or two pages will be dynamic, nothing but like inquiry form. Send us your inquiry so that we can get back to you. Then you'll be typing some email ID, phone number, and what is your inquiry. Then you click on submit, then you'll be getting the reply back for so and so. These are the details. Okay, so the main concept of this web designing will be to completely create a static website. Okay, static websites, complete full-fledged, we can be able to create nothing but displaying the complete information about the organization in a designed manner on the internet. That is nothing but in the form of a web page. Now here, when we are deal with designing the website, so generally there will be some steps or like even our course module. Okay, so now we are having a new module, so still that is under construction. So most probably by the end of this weekend, so we'll be providing you the new modules. Okay, so we have updated according to the latest trends, like whatever is running in the market, and we have included some new softwares where we'll be learning like how to design the websites. So first of all, moving on. So in our module, the first option will be using the Photoshop software. So we'll be learning like what is this Photoshop software and how we are going to design the layouts. The main purpose of using the Photoshop software will be designing the layouts. Generally, like this will be the basic process of a web designer. Like suppose as a designer, if some client approaches to me regarding a website, he requires some websites. Then generally what I do is I can just directly create a basic page by using the HTML and CSS. Then I can show to the client. But when the client check out, so he may not be able to get satisfied only the first time. Okay, the first look itself, it's not that the client will be satisfied with that and everything we just go on creating the other pages. The client may have some issues like the design method is not that good, or he may want to add something else, or he wants some animation type, or he wants some images to be added. So there will be different options. No, so that means there may be some changes we need to make. So if I'm writing the HTML and CSS, so once I set up the whole CSS properties, so if the client require complete changes, then I need to remove the whole CSS properties, and again I need to define the new CSS properties. So instead of that, general option what we do is we'll be using the Photoshop software, wherein we'll be designing the layouts. Okay, same as of like in output how we require. So first what we do is we'll be designing the layouts in the Photoshop. Then we show to the client. Then once we show the client, if there are some changes, directly we make the changes in the Photoshop. Once the client is satisfied, then the same thing can be converted into a HTML page. That is, the same page can be created. The same thing can be created by using the HTML and CSS. Like in for an example, So just for an example, like here we can see how we want to place the logo. So how we want to display the options like menus, banners, or the content, then sub items. So everything like generally what it is will be just designing a dummy content using the dummy content. Simply what it is will be designing the options, will be displaying the options, then we show the client. Now if the client requires some change, like if the client says this text I require some color, then simply what I'll do is I'll just select the whole color. So I can just show to the client then and there itself by changing the colors. Like either they require some reddish part or some bluish part, depending on the logo. From the logo they want to select. So let's say directly from the logo if they want to select. So let's say different options. So then and there itself we can be able to make the changes, and once the client is satisfied with that, then we simply click OK. So whatever the changes are there, if the client is satisfied with the look of this, if he says a go for this, then we start up designing the web pages. Okay, so here completely this will be much useful in designing the layouts. Like a complete layout can be created in the Photoshop software. So basically this would be something like a reference purpose, because the output files what we say will be a JPG. Okay, that is nothing but just an image. So if you want to show the client, generally what it is we just show in the form of an image. If the client is satisfied, then the next step will be designing the pages. So here in this curriculum, that is in our first module, we'll be learning the Photoshop software. Like in we'll be learning how to use the tools. Like towards left side, you can see the different tools. Then once we know how to use the tools, using these tools, how we are going to design the website. Okay, so that will be the main concept. And even in the Photoshop, because our main concept of web designing course will be the responsive web design, because the latest trends is completely, even a small business, it is a small client or a personal website, whatever the site may be, if I say a website, then that should be a responsive website, because almost now most of the users, whatever they require, they are directly checking in their mobiles rather than depending on the desktops. So we need to create the layouts in such a way that should be responsive, nothing but it should be responding according to the device in which it is viewed. So we create the layouts in such a way. So overall, when we want to create the pages, responsive pages, so that will be HTML, CSS, some concept will be using. But here also the same concept, like for grids. Okay, there will be a grids concept in the Bootstrap, that is for responsive concept. So using the same concept, we'll be creating the responsive grids. Like in here, you are able to see some lines. Okay, those are nothing but something like we refer to as columns. So based on that grids, we'll be designing the layout. So what is this responsive grids? How do we create this? Then based on this, how we are going to design the layout. So this will be our complete concept in Photoshop software. Okay, so remember, so mainly we'll be concentrating on the tools, like towards left side, all the tools will be checking out, and then required, like maybe we'll be checking out the view menu, because we require some guides, smart guides, and all those options to use. We'll be checking out the select menu, because we'll be using with the selection tools. In the layer, we'll be using the masking. Okay, it's not a complete like a step-by-step edit menu, what are the options, then image menu, what are the options. It's not that, because here we'll be completely dealing with the layout, web related. Okay, so we will be not be considering the brochures designing, pamphlets designing, or ID cards designing, something of those type. We'll be completely dealing with the responsive grids, how we are going to create the responsive grids, and then how we are going to design the layouts. Okay, so mainly the tools will be the main option. Then related to this, whatever the options are necessary for designing, so we'll be checking out from the view. Okay, some different menus will be checking out. Then we'll start up designing process. Okay, so this will be our first module. Okay, designing the layouts in the Photoshop software. Now once we have a reference, like once we have a layout, then our next option would be something like to create something same page as of what we have created here. Then the next concept will be like the first option, we want to display something on the page. Like here now this is a page. So in this page, so we are able to see some background color, then some text. Some text is big, some text is small. Then left side some text. So only displaying the text, displaying the images, displaying the fields, like whatever is visible on this page. So within this whole screen, starting from below the address bar and before our task bar. So whatever we are able to see is nothing but we'll be designing that, or simply first we'll be defining that in the HTML. Some text should be displayed. Then to the text displayed, we want to apply the styles. Then that will be the CSS. Okay, so CSS will be used to styling part, but to what we style in the sense, unless and until there is some content that is displayed, only then we can apply the CSS. So that means to say the first option in the designing will be creating the pages. When we create the pages, first of all, we need to display some content. So how we are going to display that content in the sense that would be through HTML. HTML is nothing but hypertext markup language, a markup language wherein we'll be using completely different tags. So our next module will be HTML, that is nothing but hypertext markup language, mainly used to display the content on the browser. And how do we display the content in the browser in the sense by using the tags? Display the content by using, there will be certain tags. So by, like if I say text I want to display in the form of heading, there will be something like h1, h2, h3 tags. If I want to display the text in the form of paragraph, there will be something like a p tag. If I want to display some image, so there will be something like img tag. Because like completely tags will be using to display the content on the page. So if I type something like in the HTML page, in the output, this text will be displayed with a little bit bigger size because I'm writing it inside the tag. Okay, so what are these tags? How a particular content will be displayed when we use a particular tag. So all this will be checking out in the HTML. So our second module will be the HTML. That is nothing but learning how to first of all define the basic structure of the HTML page. Then within that basic structure of HTML page, what are the HTML elements that we are going to define? So what tag we define, how will be the output? So all those tags we are going to check out. And the main option here, like we'll be having the HTML4, that is the basic concept, and HTML5. Okay, because nowadays complete latest trends will be the HTML5. The main difference, like one difference I can say you, HTML4, like when we say to create the structure, like left side you can see some block, so that will be one structure. On the top, one structure, so you can see two parts, so that will be different structures. So whatever the structures we need to create, like a block, generally what we do is in the HTML4 we'll be using the div tag. Okay, so in general there will be a difference here. We'll be saying, we'll be calling it as the semantic structure or non-semantic structure. Semantic in the sense nothing but it should have certain meaning. Like if I'm defining some block, like if I want to define something like a menu. So if towards left side this is a menu. So generally what we do is it should have some meaning, like the browser should automatically understand this is the menu part, unless we define the HTML5 nav tag. So this will be something like for hyperlinks. But whereas in the HTML4, what we do is we'll be just defining the div. So it may be menu, it may be the top section of the page, it may be the bottom section of the page. So that will be always the div, which is a non-semantic structure. Okay, in the HTML5, we'll be having the semantic structural elements, different elements will be there. When that will be easier for the browsers to display, because even today we need to take care of even the mobile, the pages if those are displayed on the mobiles. So that should be exactly displayed, and that should follow according to the latest trends. So generally we'll be using the HTML5 elements. But at the same time, few HTML4, like I said, headings, paragraphs, so some content related or images, that will be same as the HTML4 what we use, except that some new elements. Okay, so this main option will be something like if you have an idea of softwares, like here if you are using the Photoshop software, generally that will be a product of Adobe. Adobe, what those people do is first they'll be creating some software, then they'll be working on some new elements, like which are some drawbacks of the previous version. So what they do is they'll be working on those drawbacks. Then they may be including some new one or two tools. They may be including some design pattern, some change. Then they'll release it as a new version. Like in we have different versions in the Adobe softwares, like CS1, CS2, CS3, CS4, CS5, CS6, and now presently we have the CC version. Okay, it's not that one software to other software complete different will be there. It's not that. Everything will be same, except that some changes will be there. The same way, previous version was HTML4, but there were some drawbacks in the HTML4. Some elements, like if I want to display some video, so directly I can't display the video. I need to upload it on the YouTube. Then I have to get the link from the YouTube. Then I can copy and paste the link in my HTML page. Only then the video will be displayed, and that video will be played again in the YouTube player. Whereas in the HTML5, so now what they have done is no need to depend on the third parties. Directly a tag will be there, so you define the tag. So whatever the video we have taken, just like it should be MP4 format. So we link up the file, so automatically that will the players will be built in by the browser. Okay, so like this HTML, first of all we want to display some content, and whatever the content we want to display, that would be in the form of, that is by using certain tags. So based on the tags what we use, the content will be displayed. And so now present trend, so latest versions that we'll be using will be HTML5, but at the same time even we'll be using the HTML4. So we'll be checking out the two differences, like what are the HTML4 tags and what are the HTML5 tags. Okay, this will be complete HTML will be learning in our second module. Then if I type H1, so only the text will be little bit bigger size and it will be black color. If I type p tag, so that will be a normal text of 16 pixels of size, and again that will be black. But in case if I want to define the heading some different size, I may want to apply some color, I may want to apply some background to the text. So whatever some styling properties, some effects we want to apply to the already displayed content. So that means to say we want to apply some styling properties to the tags, to the specific tags. We'll be using the CSS. That is nothing but cascade style sheets. Okay, so mainly to apply the styles, and that will be to HTML element. So mainly we want to apply some styles to HTML element, so that will be the CSS. Okay, again here the same option. Basic properties will be CSS2, and additional to this, okay, CSS2 will be the common properties we'll be using. Additional to this, some new properties, advanced options will be included in CSS. So here we'll be checking out first of all how to write the CSS, how we define the CSS. There will be something like a selectors concept. What are some different selectors? Then what are the properties? Because in the CSS2 there will be 7 categories, and within 7 categories there will be complete different properties. So we'll be checking out all those properties, because first we need to have an idea. So which property for what purpose we use. In the same way CSS3, what are the new properties? So if we use a particular property, what will be the use of that? So once we have a complete idea of HTML elements, and then we have a complete idea of CSS3 elements, then the next option will be creating the website. Nothing but designing the web pages. And generally we can use the softwares like a Notepad, Notepad++, or the best using the software would be the Dreamweaver software. And nowadays a more number of softwares, like even the Google, they have a Google Web Designer software, some HTML editors like Coffee Cup, some different softwares are available. So all those are the same concept. Okay, only their building up will be easier in some softwares. In some softwares manually we need to do, some softwares automatically will be done. But unless and until we have a complete knowledge of HTML and CSS, doesn't matter which software, but the main option will be HTML and CSS. What are the HTML elements and what are the CSS properties? Then based on that, what we do is we'll be creating the website. Website is nothing but pages. We'll be creating some different pages by using the HTML and CSS. Okay, so here what it is, first we'll be checking out with designing a normal page, but our main concept then next would be a responsive page. Okay, responsive websites we require. Now, yeah, responsive website in the sense like suppose if I take up some site, like let us take our own. Now, if you observe here, so you can see on the top logo is towards left, and you can see a horizontal menu. When I say like a response in the sense, because now my screen width is 1366, you can see the page width something around this much, and left hand side some empty space. If I just zoom in, something like if the screen resolution is 1024, then that will be viewed something like this. The same if I just reduce the size, like let us assume here browser width I'm reducing. So you can see, suppose if it is viewed in the mobile, so you don't find a horizontal menu. So you can see a small icon is displayed. When I click on this, a vertical menu is displayed. And you can see the content part. So automatically the text has arranged in such a way that you can be able to scroll only from top to bottom, but you are not able to see anything like a vertical scroll bar. Okay, horizontal scroll bar at the bottom. See the other side. So you can see a horizontal scroll bar at the bottom. Now, if suppose I want to read this text like home page, so each and every line I have to scroll from left to right. First line, then scroll to right, again come back, again second line. So again I have to just go on read by scrolling. So generally this is not preferable. No client will, no users will be interested to read this. Okay, because more clients, more users nowadays they're completely checking out on the mobiles. So we require the pages to display in such a way that if it is viewed in the device which has a lesser width, the content should automatically fit within that device. Okay, so generally we say a device, like defining the responsive concept, we say it's a device, like based on the devices how it is viewed. But remember, device is nothing but it directly don't understand whether it is a mobile or tablet or desktop. The main option for the page to check out what is the in which view how to display will be the browser ranges, browser width. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm just changing the browser width. So you can see here, if I'm changing the browser width, then according to that the content will be automatically adjusting. So you can see the content. So you can see at this moment directly the horizontal menu. See anything less, directly that menu is gone, another option. Okay, that depends on the browser width what we are taking. So in simple terms, like if I say a responsive website I require, then that means to say the layout what we are going to create, the page what we are going to create should be in such a way that it should respond according to the device. Okay, definition we said device, but what exactly is the device meaning, in the sense that is nothing but in which device you open the browser, what exactly is the browser width. Okay, within a specific width it should display the content in so and so. Like if I say I want to display some content, if it is viewed in the laptop, it should be red color. If it is viewed in the desktop, it should be green color. If it is viewed in a tablet, it should be purple color. If it is displayed in the mobile, it should be black color. Generally speaking, we say if it is displayed in so and so device, then some option. But how we define that in the sense, there will be an option concept of media queries. Okay, there is nothing but some changes we require when it is viewed in different devices, or simply when it is viewed in the browser with a particular range. Then we'll be defining that if it is in within this range, so and so color. If the browser width is in suppose like less than 768, then that would be termed as mobile. If the range is between 768 to 992, then that would be referred to as the tablets. If the range is between 992 to 1199, then that would be referred to as the desktop. And anything from 1200 resolution, if the resolution is greater than 1200, then that would be termed as the laptops. Okay, large devices. So yes, based on the browser widths, the layout should change. The layout should automatically adjust. Then that is nothing but a response. Or simple terms, any website you open, just reduce the browser width to its minimum size. If you are able to find at the bottom a horizontal scroll bar, then that is not a responsive. If there is no horizontal scroll bar at the bottom, then that is a responsive site. So you can see some previous site. So now you can see this is nothing but not a responsive website, but this is a responsive website. Now here responsive, to make a responsive website, it's not that we'll be using some different terminology or something different technology or anything. Simple option that will be HTML and CSS, except that there will be just three main concepts: flexible grids. So we'll be checking out in later on our sessions, like what is this, first of all, what is responsive, then what are these flexible grids. Nothing but in simple terms I can say that if we are creating some structure, that structure should automatically be flexible. That should be changing according to the browser width. If the browser width is changing, according to that even the block width also should be changing. Okay, simple option will be there. Like generally we define the block width in pixels, some units. Here what we do is just we define in percentage. That automatically become the flexible images, because the text completely depends on the width. So if the already the grids or simply the width of the block is flexible, then automatically the text also will be flexible. Then we'll be using some images, so that images should be flexible. So only one CSS property will be using automatically the images. Whenever you use the images, that will be flexible. And then the main concept will be CSS3 media queries. Like I said, the main concept of responsive is like if I require a change in the design when it is viewed in different device, or when it is viewed in a particular range of the browser width. So which range, what should be the change? Like if I say greater than 1200, then it should be a blue color. Then I need to define that using that range. Like if it is greater than 1200, then to that particular HTML element, so and so color should be applied. So that is nothing but using the media query will be defining the range. Within this range, second range, third range, and fourth range. Mobiles, tablets, desktop, and then large devices. So we'll be defining that ranges by using the media queries. Okay, so in our fifth module, so generally what we do is we'll be learning the responsive concept. What is this responsive? So what are we going to learn in this concept? So that will be mainly the flexible grids, flexible images, and media queries. Then using this concept, we can create one basic page that will be completely manually, will be defining the steps. But we start up designing the responsive layout manually, writing up the steps, so and so percentage, this percentage, it will take some time consuming. Instead of that, simply what we do is nothing but we define with Bootstrap, create a page with a Bootstrap. This is nothing but a framework, like already the CSS will be defined. So you can see it is nothing but HTML, CSS, and JavaScript framework for developing responsive mobile first projects. Here, the CSS, the styling part, the properties and everything will be already defined. Our option will be like output what I require. Then I'll just check out here the class names. There will be something like class names. I'll just define this name. Automatically the structure will be created. So like in here, everything will be given. So based on how I require two blocks side by side, then I can just define something like this. I'll just define in the HTML because the CSS is already defined. I'll just attach that CSS file. And as soon as I define these class names, automatically the structure will be created. And this will be a perfect responsive structure. So by default, the blocks in the larger devices may be displayed side by side, but as soon as it comes to mobile, those will be displayed one by one. Okay, let's just a complete responsive concept. The CSS and everything will be already defined. So far as no need to sit and type all the CSS and everything checking out. So simply we just follow this concept. Okay, that is we need to understand this. What is this grid system? How they have created the grid system. So then once we have a knowledge of this, simply what it is directly we just attach this CSS file and start up designing the pages. Only in the HTML will be defining the options. Output will be automatically displayed. Okay, and this will be a perfect responsive structure. Even everything like if I want some tables, so you can see some different options like only borders at the bottom or complete borders we require, or when we move the cursor on this particular row, some background should be displayed. So we'll be checking out some styles, even content related, some styles will be displayed. So if I want this type of option, so simply what I'll do is I'll just use this option. We simply copy this and paste. Automatically that structure will be style will be applied. Okay. Content related optional, like either you can define your own styles or we can just depend on this. But the main concept of using the Bootstrap will be the structure. Okay, the structure, because any layout should be perfect, responsive. Its structure is important. Once we have a complete knowledge of structure and we are using the structure from Bootstrap, then that would be a perfect responsive page. Okay, so here first we'll be checking out what are these responsive concepts, how we use that, then using that, how we manually create the pages. Once we have an idea, then the next will be opting for Bootstrap. What is this Bootstrap? What will be the concept of grid system? Then using that concept, how we are going to create the blocks. So once you have a complete idea, then the complete page we can just create by using the Bootstrap concept. Okay, so this will be the main concept. So up till here, this is complete static, like just displaying the option. But sometimes we may require some functionality. Like in here, if you observe, so we have seen here, so by default it is horizontal, but as soon as the device width is less, so you can see some functionality. When we click, something should happen. Again you click, that should be gone. So all this functionality part, so generally built in by the JavaScript. But as a designer, we may not be full-fledged having knowledge of JavaScript, because we may not be from the background of scripting oriented. So we may not write up the whole script, because writing the script will be something around 1,000 lines, 2,000 lines for writing a particular animation. But instead of that, so general option, like if I want to use this particular style, like if I want to use that style, or sometimes we find the sliders, like 4 or 5 images will be there. So each image will be sliding one after the other. So instead of we sitting and writing the whole script and everything, the simple and best option will be the jQuery. But before starting up the jQuery, in our next module, so what we do is first we'll be having a basic knowledge of JavaScript. What exactly is JavaScript? So how do we define the JavaScript in the HTML pages? Where do we define? What will be the common options that we'll be using, like operators, data types, variables? Then how do we define the conditions? How do we define the loops? What will be the use of functions? Okay, so just to have a knowledge, it's something like introduction to the script part. So how we use the script, where we define, what will be the basic options. Then once we have a knowledge of this, then the main concept will be the jQuery plugins. So how do we use the plugins? So this will be the main concept. Okay, so there will be some different plugins. So how we are going to use that plugins, that will be the main concept. Okay, so only there will be some method. Like first of all, we'll be learning what is this jQuery script. The main option of this using this jQuery will be already the developer will be creating some animated plugin, like in a slider. So what our option will be, like we will be creating the HTML elements. So by default, like if I say if I want to display some images, I'll be writing up the image tag. So like 4 or 5 images I'll be displaying. So all those will be displayed one by one. But what we require is those 5 images should display one after the other. Then simply the developers will be already writing that JavaScript file. So what we do is that will be available in the form of plugin. We'll be downloading that JavaScript file and we attach to the HTML file. But only attaching the HTML to the HTML file, that JavaScript file is not enough. We want to link up which part of the HTML. Like I said, if I want to display some 5 images, so all those 5 images, to those 5 images, I want to apply the script that is from the attached file. So that linking up the HTML element with the JavaScript file in which already action is defined. That would be by using the jQuery script. We call it as a calling a function. So that is nothing but some basic script will be there. So we'll be mainly linking up the HTML element with the JavaScript file which is already designed. That is already the developer has defined the script for so and so animation. So whichever we require, we'll be just attaching that file and linking up the HTML. There will be just a basic method in the jQuery, like how we take the plugins and what we need to check out. only we follow the method, because it's not that if I say like this is one site for menu or this is one site for slider, it's not only there one or two sites, there will be some hundreds of sites, hundreds of different plugins. Okay, so main concept will be like how to use those plugins. The concept method will be same, it only depends like what plugin, how the style is, so which will be suitable for our page. So based on that we select the plugins and we follow the same method, so automatically that will be done. Okay, so here we'll be completely dealing with the different plugins, like it may be menu, it may be sliders, it may be gallery, it may be accordions, tabs, date pickers, it may be jQuery validations, like form validations plugins. So different plugins. So I'll be just taking out some different section of plugins. So like if menu one part I'll be taking out, then I'll just define, because mainly the first option will be how to attach will be the same option, same method to all the plugins. Okay, so this will be our sixth module, that is nothing but completely dealing with basic JavaScript and how we are going to work with the different jQuery plugins. Then once we have created all these options, so this is nothing but all this what we are doing is completely in our local systems, but only the main concept of designing this and everything will be because we want to put this online, because we want to display this on the internet. Then our main option, once we design everything, create the HTML pages, define the CSS properties, then define the script, attach the script files, and everything is done. So if we are able to view something in our system, the next thing is I want to put it online. Then the first thing what we require will be a domain. Domain, in simple terms, we can define it as nothing but a unique name which is given to a particular unique name which is with which we can identify a particular company. Okay, it's something like an identification of a particular company. But the main concept of taking up the domain will be nothing but purchasing an IP address. Okay, so one IP address will be assigned to this domain name. So once taken, then again the same domain name cannot be used by any other people, because the IP address will be very unique. Once it is registered with a particular IP name, then no others can use the same IP address. Okay, so in general, because we can't remember like IP address and everything, that will be the backend functionality. But as a user or as a client, our main option will be to display something on the internet. So first of all, there should be some name to be defined. There should be something with which we can be identified. So that will be nothing but the name, domain name. So in general, that would be like example. So generally, this will be a company name, most probably, and this will be an extension depending on the type of business on that company. Like if I said .org, if I have a non-profit organization, it's not a company business or anything, it's just a non-profit organization, then simply I need to register with .org. If it's my personal website or it is just a business type, so I can go with com, that is commercial. If I'm doing some business and I'm providing the service around the world, but my main company is within India, so I can just go with a country code .in. If I'm from Australia, I can just go with AU. Okay, so like this, we get a list of extensions. So we need to check out like what is our business and which extension matches to our business. Then based on that, we'll be checking out the extensions. Okay, so we'll be purchasing this from the third parties. Once we have a domain name, that is just for identification, just to have an IP address. If some user will type this, okay, so if we, as soon as we type the domain name, then some page, some content should be displayed. Now how this will be done in the sense, basically if we are opening something from our system, so unless and until that is stored in our system, only then it will open. Like if I click on something, because that is already stored in our system on the hard disk, so it will open that page. If I give the links, it will open that page and everything. The same way, if something like when the user will click on the domain, then it should connect to something wherein it should automatically take that pages. So we cannot link the domain name directly with our system hard disks. Okay, we require some hard disk on the server. We require a server operating system. Ours is a normal operating system like Windows 10, Windows 8. This is just a normal operating system. But if we want to connect something to the domain names, we require a operating system. Okay, and mainly because we'll be using the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, ASP, all these languages, whatever we use, databases. So generally that should be a Linux operating system. Okay, not Windows. Linux operating system. That is a Linux server operating system. But as an individual, maintaining the servers will be a little bit difficult. Like either you should be a system administrator, networking, you need to have a complete idea, or you need to hire some person specifically to maintain that server. Then the system should always be on. There should be always a backup. There should be no problem with the system, like in the hardware configuration. If there is some problem with the hardware, like if there is some problem with the RAM, at that moment, if some user is checking out the website, it will display server not found because there is some problem with the RAM. So now you need to remove the RAM, you need to take it to some other person, then you need to replace that. If that is not available, you need to bring it from somewhere else. It may take up 2 or 3 days. So till that time, it will always display server not found, and the user he'll check out server not found, then he'll go to next site. So that is nothing but the loss of business. Okay, so in general, as an individual, maintaining will be a little bit expensive, little bit problematic. Generally, what we do is we completely depend on the third parties. So what we do is just we call it as a hosting. Hosting is nothing but already someone is maintaining the server. So we just require some space on the server so that we can store our files on the server, and that server can be linked to the domain name. Okay, so to the domain name, only the servers can be linked. So for that we require a server. So instead of we going with individual, what we do is we check out, like here you can see, if we require 30 GB of space, like only 30 GB is enough, so I can just go with this package. If I require more space, I can just go with another package. Okay, third parties, they'll be, their only work is maintaining the servers, and big companies, even they have an option of backups. So even if some problem is related, if some problem is occurring, it will directly just shift to another server, but there won't be any disturbance or something like server not found, any problems for the from the third parties. So our best option would be purchase some space on the server. Then we upload all our files, whatever we have designed, on the server. Okay, and there will be a just option like named servers we call. So we'll be linking up the domain with the server name. Servers will be having two names, so we'll be just linking up those server names with the domain. So the next time when the user will click the domain, so directly it will connect to the server. Within the server, some pages, HTML pages, directly that pages will open. Okay, so this is how we take up the domain name, how we go with the hostings, everything. I have a live server. So how we take up the domain name, so what will be the concept of domain, then how we are going to take up the hosting server, then how we are going to link up the hosting with the domain, how we are going to maintain the server. That is nothing but we'll be having some access, like editing the files, uploading the files, downloading the files from the server. So we'll be having some access once we purchase. So completely that will be a live server. I'll be showing you the process of domain and hosting. Now, once we have a complete knowledge of all these options, nowadays, okay, so now this is what we are including new. So far, what we do is we'll be using the HTML, CSS complete manually. We'll be writing up the HTML part, CSS, and everything. Then we'll be designing the pages. Nowadays, we have an option of something like CMS, Content Management System. Nothing but already built-in applications or softwares will be there, wherein you need to just choose the themes and you need to upload the content. You need to just define the content. That design will be automatically created. Okay, so that is nothing but we'll be using the WordPress software. Generally, if you don't have any knowledge of HTML, CSS, still you can use the WordPress software. But there may be some times, like just for an example, now if this is one site, Now this is the theme. Like what we have taken is this is the theme. Now if this is the normal theme, but what our client requires is a little bit different, like still colorish and everything is required. So you can see now I'm changing it to something else. The concept is same, the theme is same, but you can see the design is changed. Generally there will be some options to change the background color or border colors, but sometimes if you want to manually change that color, so unless and until we have a knowledge of HTML and CSS, like where is the HTML part, to which element we have applied the CSS. So like we'll be using the inspect element, Control Shift I. So now you can see I'll just check out, like if I want to change a specific options, I'll just check out from here. Now this is the HTML part. Now to this, so you can see right side there will be some colors, styles. So I need to just check out this is in the style.css file. Now I need to open the style.css file. So I require some border. So I'll be just applying the CSS properties. If you don't have any knowledge of HTML, CSS, so unless and until only option will be like whatever is there, the same thing we can be able to design. Only replacing the content. So here are some 3 or 4 menu items. So we'll be removing, we'll be adding some different name. This is some content, so the same content will be just content will be replaced, but the style will be same. If I want to change the color of this, if there is an option given, we'll be selecting the color and then we can change. But if there is no option given, manually we need to make a change. So first of all, we need to have a complete knowledge of HTML and CSS. Okay, so anyhow, so already because we'll be learning the HTML, CSS, and mainly this applications will be only if you have a server. So we'll be already having a knowledge of hosting servers, how we what is the server, how we log in and everything. Simply what we do is we just check out like within the hosting server how we are going to install the WordPress software, WordPress application, then how we are going to take up the theme, setting up the page. That is nothing but mainly the first option will be the setting up menu, creating the pages, linking up, then editing wise like whatever is required, so we'll be editing. Okay, so most probably we'll be creating one complete page by using the WordPress software, because installation will be the important option. So how we install, how we take the theme, because uploading the theme either by using the hosting server or by using the FileZilla. FileZilla already will be, because at our course itself we'll be using this software, so it will be useful, easier to use at the end. Okay, so we'll be checking out the WordPress, how we design the layouts in the WordPress software. And just introduction to AngularJS. Generally, like if I require some product to be displayed, something like a price and everything, we can just go with the design. But something like, let us assume some comment I want to display. Generally, that will be a dynamic process, because there should be something like database created and everything. So instead of that, simply by using some basic script will be there. So directly we can link up to the HTML element, so that option will be displayed. That is nothing but the comment will be displayed. As soon as the user will type and press enter, that comment will be entered. Okay, so there's nothing but built in, like in Bootstrap. For HTML, CSS, how we use already built-in CSS file, whether we link up the CSS file and then we define the class name, the style will be applied. The same way, already the scripts will be defined. So we need to just add some script, some part to the HTML element. So directly the output will be displayed. Okay, so there will be some specific options that we'll be using, so that no need to depend on the developer. Okay, but here we'll be just going with the introduction. That is the basic options. Like there will be something like derivatives, there will be something like modules. So what are those options? Some one small application will be creating by using the AngularJS. Okay, but in advanced instance, again you need to have a complete knowledge of dynamic oriented. Okay, so as much as possible, like a static related, how we are going to use the AngularJS, how we are going to define the applications, that will be the part in our course. Okay, so these two are now we are newly including. So most probably by Monday or Tuesday, we'll be getting the complete details of this. Like we are just getting it ready. So most probably by Monday or Tuesday, we'll be getting it. Okay, so this will be the complete curriculum of our web designing course. Okay, completely this will be a practical oriented. It's not that I'll be just putting up some slides and I'll be just going with the theoretical part, but completely live practical oriented I'll be showing. And when we start up the classes, the same concept, like I'll be sending up the link. You need to just join. Then while joining, like while taking up the session itself, I'll be recording the session, and the same session after the class, most probably within 1 to 2 hours, again I'll be sharing the video link. Okay, like some students, like if there are 5 to 6 students, so maybe 1 or 2 students may be missing out due to some other work or anything. So before attending the next session, because I'll be sharing that particular day session the same day, so you need to just check out the video. Like whenever you get some time, you just check out the video so that before next session you can get ready. Okay, and these videos day to day will be provided. So once we complete our session, the same session video will be provided. Like even if you require some further doubt or again you want to go, so whenever you require, you can just view, because only access will be given to you. Okay, your email IDs will be there, so only that access will be given. So you need to log in into the YouTube with your given email Gmail IDs. Only then you can access the videos. Okay, and this access will be after completion of course, 3 to 4 months you'll be having the access. Okay, so this will be the main thing. And regarding any doubts you want to ask, so if you have any doubts you can just clarify, or either you can just chat, like in the chat you can just type the message and you can just display. See, content and information is same. It's nothing like different. So generally speaking, we say information or simply that is nothing but we are typing something is nothing but the content. If I say like I want the information of this particular service to be displayed, so simply what it is, we'll be typing some information about that, like this is so and so company started so and these are the services. This service will be including so and so options. So that is nothing but the content. Okay, generally speaking, like when we say like I want to display some content on the page, in the sense nothing but that is some information we are going to display. Okay, it's not completely different. It's one and same. See, HTML4, HTML5 in the sense, nothing but we'll be learning the options, like what are HTML4 tags and HTML5 tags. Separate tags will be there. Like in for an example, if this is a site, I'll just check out the page source. Now within this whole site, like in the HTML part, just for an example, if I'm typing something like header. So you can see here there is a header tag. So that means it's nothing but a HTML5. See, general option there will be in the basic structure, like which version we are using. So basically that will be a HTML5 version. Any website you check out, on the top you'll find something like this. Okay, what is this in the sense? This is the HTML5 version. So that means to say if we are defining that HTML5 version, only then I can use the header, footer, nav, section. So you can see this is a HTML5 element. Previously we were using the HTML4 option. Like on the top, if you find the older websites, that complete link will be different. On the top you find something different option. If it is HTML4 and if you define the HTML5 element, then that would be something like an error. Okay, so HTML5 will be defining the version because this is mandatory from October 2014. Okay, not even 2015, it's from October 2014. This is mandatory to use the HTML5 version. Tags, these are optional because already, like I said, the divs and everything will be commonly used. Anchor tags, these are all HTML4 elements. Paragraphs, headings, these are all common elements. So you can see the div, that will be the common. Additional to this, related to option, like the top section of the page we say header, bottom section of the page we say footer. So we'll be using the HTML5 tags. Okay, depends on the tags what we use. Okay, we'll be mixing up like HTML4, HTML5 according to the designing part. We'll be mixing up. Okay, so I guess like even if you have any doubts, like Can we check if a site is ever opened on tablet? No, I didn't get this. See, as a client, I may not be able to know like if someone has used in the mobile, because that will be maybe complete programming languages we require, or complete scripting part will be there, wherein like which users, like in mobile, how many people have used, because that will be completely surveys. Like this year, how many people have viewed on the mobiles? If Facebook is there, Facebook, how many people or how many percentage of them have used on the mobiles? How many of them has used tablet? That will be complete programming. Okay, they have some different applications, softwares, programming languages. According to that, they'll be checking out. It's not a just a small option to check out. It's completely different. Okay, so anyhow, if you have any doubts, like already have received a mail from me, so that is my official email ID, and even you have my phone number on that. Yeah, see that is just a dynamic part. Okay, that is nothing but not even dynamic. We can say there will be script part. Okay, so cookies and all those options like advertisers. So all this would be something like a script. Like if I'm registering with some of the advertised company, so they want me to display their website, their option. So simply what I'll do is they'll have some patch up. Like if I display that advertise so and so price and everything, that will be the option. What they do is they'll be providing me the script. Simply I'll add up that script in this. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can directly contact me. So mainly through emails, you can just send your information, so I can just clarify that. And most probably, like after the session, so even I'll be sharing again this video, so you can just go through this, and just if required, like if you can send up the reply, like whether interested or not interested. Okay, because again we don't bother you to join, call up the phones from our admin and just a request, just asking whether you want to join or anything. So it's just up to you. So if just one message that if you are interested, like whoever interested, you just give a reply with interested, so that I can send you the bank details. So most probably 18th or 20th will be starting, because already I've sent. Even there are still some students maybe due to this festival, so they have not attended today. So most probably I may take a demo session, another demo session on 18th and 19th. So most probably on 20th will be starting up the classes. Okay, so anyhow that will be confirmed by our admin, but either 18th or 20th, just confirmation will be giving you. Okay, so like if you're interested, once we get the reply from you, so we'll be sending you the bank details. Like already I guess you have been intimated about the fees, so you can just pay that amount. Okay, and even one more thing, like whenever we are taking up the classes, like I'll be showing you the live examples. I'll be creating some separate pages, like in for an example, so you can see HTML, a separate folder will be there, like HTML4 form tags, all this will be within this file. HTML5 form tags, all will be within this page. So simply what I'll do is I'll be saving all this. Then day to day, I'll be giving you an access. There is one server. I'll be giving you one account. So I'll be uploading it from here. Like whatever the files I've created, I'll be uploading by the end of the session. So if you want to have a reference of those files, directly you can open it from your side. Okay, you require just a FileZilla software. I'll be giving you the access, so you can just log into that. You can download the files and check it in your system. Okay, so this will be day to day. Okay, so let's all HTML, CSS, jQuery, JavaScript, completely example wise, whatever the pages we create, so everything will be saving it in different form. Okay, so hope you liked it, and we get a positive response from all of you. Okay, and hoping to meet you soon. Okay, and thank you very much for listening this demo. Thank you, Kalyan. Okay, and try to just kindly send the email reply, just interested or not interested. So interested will get back to you, so not interested, not a matter.